Hello everyone. Our next speaker is Stéphane Pennec. He's the CEO of AINU, and he's going to speak to us about the harmonization of mounts and supports for our entire museum collections. Stéphane, come on up.
I have to get used to the machine. So, hi everybody. I'd like to thank the organization team here. It's a tremendous conference, so well organized. So, thank you, Dante, because I was very much in contact with him over these last few weeks. Okay, first of all, the title on the PowerPoint here is a little bit different than the one you've got in the schedule, in the program. It's just because I've been a little bit lazy, and so it's a paper that I did present a few years ago. And I couldn't do something updated for you, so and I think that experience is still very valuable for our work, at least in France. So let's start in. Yeah, sure. The thing is not that clear, but I recognize for. So that's the button to go forward. Okay, and that's the lighting. To go back, okay, and then that's the laser pointer. Okay. So I'm going to start with the short presentation of what AINU is. Okay, so it's very small on the screen. Okay, AINU is. I'm first of all, I'm a metal conservator by training, and I've been dealing in mount making since 25 years now, or 91. And in Paris, we've got a very big workshop. It's 20,000 square feet. And we provide all range of services for museum, from conservation, art handling, inventory, and of course what we're talking about today is mount making, framing, and art installation. We are, and that's an update in the presentation. We're opening a workshop in New York just now, right now. The company is set up, and we're going to have a workshop in Greenpoint, Brooklyn. So I'll be very pleased to have some further discussion with everyone here. We'll be in the panorama of what's happening in museum in terms of mount making in the States now. So that's the content of the presentation. I'm going to talk about a case study, not in terms of one object, but in terms of one museum. In 2006, the Musée du Quai Branly in Paris just opened, and it was an ethnographic museum made on two collections. One came from the Museum of Mankind, which is a very big, very famous museum and long history museum in Paris. And the other one was the Musée des Arts Africains et Océaniens, was set up at Malraux in the 60s, and it was more kind of a colonial museum. So the building, I mean the whole, starting from the building, but the whole project was a very political decision made by Chirac when he was president. And he did connect the two collections, join them in a future Musée du Quai Branly Ethnographic Museum in Paris. So it's 20,000. I'm going to talk in meters and instead of feet and inches. I'm sorry, Sora. I'm sure that for the next conference in 2 years, I'll be much easier in inches and feet. I'm sorry. So that's the museum in its actual situation. So it was a very strong political issue at the beginning, and they choose Jean Nouvel as an architect. I'm going backward a little bit. Okay. Which is a very famous architect in France. It was his first major building in Paris. It was probably more well known for his building of overseas or in other countries than in Paris. So it was very important to have Nouvel at that time for political reasons also. So that's our workshop in Paris. So we the challenge about the mount making of all the objects from that museum was quite high. We had to in 2 years we had to so it was just after 4 years conservation treatment of all the collection. We had to do all the presentation of the scenography that was scheduled ahead. Prepare all the mounts in the workshop, and then be ready for a very short installation time for all the objects. So the whole collection were transferred to our workshop. Here you've got an idea of the storage. We had 4,000, almost 5,000 objects in storage, and that cover all ethnography civilization period worldwide. So we each week we open some new area in the workshop, opening boxes, checking the object, putting them together, checking with the scenography. And we had to take care also on site on the connection with the architecture. Not only connection physically, like engineering, the amount of kilos available on the floor, which were very low, like in every new construction, unfortunately. But also with the aesthetical point of view of the architecture. So I don't know if any one of you just visit that museum in Paris, but the sizes is very tremendous, and there's some very challenging architectural issue in it, like size of the metal frames, glass panels, and it's just next to the Eiffel Tower. So coming on to the museography, everything was designed in advance and planned, and so we had to figure out and adapt the mounts to the wishes of the architect. Here it's just the kind of drawing that we receive at the beginning of the mission. So it was mostly in 2D, not, we didn't have anything in 3D, but we had front vision and floor vision of the position of the object. So sometimes it was glass, so it was like transparent from transparent windows, sometimes on backing, different kind of backing. And we had also to deal with the all the engineering in terms of flooring and weight resistance of the flooring, and with some big challenge of putting some 2-ton object on a floor that can only resist 400 kilos, for example. So the understanding of the museography was important for us because we had to make sure that whatever we did in advance in terms of preparation, mount making, and will go smoothly in the museum when we will be in the installation period. So that's a view of the museography inside, the way it is now. The main purpose in terms of, or the main idea for the architect was to highlight the aesthetical value of each object more than its ethnographic value. So it was very often out of context, more like art sculpture together. So we had to deal also with some very kind of how can I say, stupid idea from an architect. Like the whole floor of the museum, it's not the real floor. The real floor is about 2 feet underneath, and it's not even level. So so every podium, every table like that goes. So that's the level of the display cases, but the real floor is underneath. So by example, for that table, you have to fix the table underneath the floor through a kind of fake movable floor. So in terms of stability, it was a new challenge, because we had to take care of the stability, not only what's over the flooring, but taking into account that we have 2 feet more for everything. Same, we had to deal with all the construction panel. At that time, the company that they used for all the display cases was Unifor in Milano. And then we set up the first stage of our work after taking into account all the scenography proposition, layout, and thing, was to being able to have something which for which every object will be in harmony with the other one, not only by section, but only by sizes, which means that a small object or jewelry object or framing for papers or huge sculpture or textile mannequin. And one of the challenge was to have, even with all these different techniques and material that we're going to use, a kind of harmony in the vision of the object, so the visitor will just forget it and pass over. So we set up a lot of work up front in terms of prototype, discussion with the architect in order to discuss which kind of material we're going to use for mounts, which kind of shapes of materials. So there was some prototype made in the workshop for the discussion. And that's some of the first prototype made for the bigger object. So it was decided by together with the architect to use a lot of mechanical structure, which is like the U-frame, the U-shape pole that you see at the back of that sculpture, instead of tube or the kind of shape. And in order to be able to speak the same language, first of all together in the team, we were 20 to work together, but also with the conservator and with the curator and the architect. One of the first things that we did was to set up a typology of mount, so we were sure to speak the same language all together. So you see for each kind of mounting technique, we had we mentioned a name and then just 2 letters to make sure that that it was understandable for everyone. I don't like talking in public, so my throat gets very dry. Sorry. So we decided to work in steel and stainless steel. Most of them were painted black because it was kind of the easiest way to forget the mount and the display cases. So that's some detail mounting. Oh, that's blurry. That's some shapes of structure that have been selected. So it's we use the pole is it's a U shape, and then we add some mechanical arm for these, and we also designed with the architect the piece on the floor to attach to the actual floor of the museum. We were talking about data and how to record the work for, mounting and the work we all do in museum. We set up, and it wasn't the first time. I did use it, the same system for the Asian Art Museum in Paris in 2000. So we set up a database. It was on FileMaker Pro system, but which is not that important. But the content of it was more important. So we were able to have a description of the object, photography of the object, photography of the mount. We used the typology of the mount in it, but we used also some very practical. We mentioned some very practical issue in it, like to be able to follow if the mount is done or in progress, in paint. And then there's all the instruction for the installation of the object on the mount. We also mentioned at the bottom you have so you can open each of the boxes, but at the bottom you have the visual of the vitrine, of the display cases. And on the map or in front vision. So every time you've got the file, you can just click on the floor map, and you've got the big vision of where it's going to be, or where the object is positioned within the display cases. And you've got also the name of the mount maker here. So we add everything that makes sense over time on the database. We've been using these since now 16 years, improving it each time. The point is that what you mentioned about TMS is that now when we set up a museum, at the end of the work we give back all the museum files, all the mount making files, in the format that they can import them in their own database, not only as PDF, but sometimes as as database, properly as accessible. So that's another one. So everything's labeled. We made some progress in the labeling. Now we're using barcode system, QR, to label all our mounts. There's a lot. It was a lot of. It was 2 years mission to work on it, and we were kind of 20 person working on it, including 2 architects, inventory person. We also had to provide all the engineering drawings for all the biggest objects, such as I'll come back after, but I think I've got a sample of that. Such as this one, and that's it's also a house front from Papua New Guinea, like this morning presentation. So there's a structure behind that's used, and it was designed also in house in the workshop. Okay, I'll come back to where I was. So we on the file of the display cases, we also, of course, we handwrite all the information we had to add and couldn't be in the database. So we had a person just to follow all the information, doing all the work for the 2 years. So then, of course, there's also the workshop work, so soldering, like you all know. It was quite intense because we had every Wednesday we had meetings with the curators and the scientists to decide the position of the object in advance. And then in the same day we made we installed the object in a kind of blank display cases that was the same size at the future one, in order for them to validate the position of every one object to the others. So by example, I don't know if you can see it on it, but so we did print 1-to-1 scale all the display cases. And we stick the paper on the wall. So here behind, you've got the picture of the object, print 1-to-1 scale, like that. And here also. And we install, so each week we install all the object for the approval or discussion with the curator. The whole point of it is that we knew that we will have only 3 months to install the whole museum at the end of the and they were a very important. I mean, the issue of the date of the opening was very important for political reasons. So they were the subject of the main object also. The process of the installation was quite a very complicated thing on site. When we arrived, they were still building the display cases. Sometimes they were still finishing the flooring of the museum. So it was very messy. So we had to deal also with all the textile and mannequin. So everything was made in-house also. They wanted to have very kind of minimalist mannequin with no head and no arm. I mean no hands. So you can see here. So they were, and we set up kind of I don't know if you will see it here, but we set up a kind of accessory list of what we can add to a mannequin, like shoulder, hips, legs, if needed. So then on site, we started the installation. We were up to 40 persons. So the way we all organized the thing up front was very important to be able to do it properly and with not too much stress. So we had to set up also some small workshop on site just for the last modifications. Here it's also a lintel from Papua New Guinea that we set up in the air with not even on the wall. It was just hanging from the ceiling. So there's a complete structure behind it. So because of what we mentioned about the flooring, we had to have extension each time. So we would have we did goes into the flooring to attach each mannequin on some rails. So here was the shape of the rails at the bottom of the display cases underneath the flooring. So we had some discovering during the installation, like the wall of the display cases, which was supposed to be MDF, turned to be aluminum, or So even if you prepare the best you can, I mean, you just dependent on the goodwill of the display cases manufacturers sometimes. We are also to deal, which is important in that kind of thing, with stress management for the team. It's a very important issue, because if you can't run, even if it's only 3 months installation, when it's with very extended hours, if you don't take care of your team, if you don't make the proper environment for them to work in a good mood, or taking in consideration if someone is tiring and wants to just have a rest sometimes, or this kind of thing. So I think I just mention it here because I think it's a very important part of our work as a team manager. And the other thing, but you must have realized, all of you, is that we go we're working exhibition after exhibition. Like right now, I think in AINU we open an exhibition every week or every 2 weeks. So the team, they're not as excited as the museum person about that's the project of their life, or for the next 10 years they will open a museum. I mean, we open a museum, big museum, like 2 or 3 per year. So you know that you have to be fresh for the next one, and so I think the team management thing is important for us. I just mentioned two words about the whole process here. One is that it was an incredible project, even if it was tough to do. The collection was amazing. It was working with the architect was also very interesting, and it was a huge challenge for us to make sure to be open on time, as usual. But I think, I don't know if you can read it, but it doesn't matter. I'll mention it to you. But I think there's some very bad thing about every project. Also, is that one of the problems is the incompetences or the lack of competences of the people we're dealing with. So that could be the architect assistant, or the designer, or they never set up a museum and they just think that they can reinvent the wheel. So that's a major issue for us very often. Political issue also was because they don't give a shit about what we're doing. So they just want to have the museum open in time. So whatever is behind it, they push. And sometimes they pay late. And sometimes we're dealing with some new concept of architecture, and just the program is just not that clever, or so you have to deal with it. I mean, you have to stick to it. You have to make them happy with what they have. So that's for today. Thank you.